Happy Friday morning, everybody. Thanks for checking into our latest Trade to Black podcast presented by Dutchie. I am your host, Shad Dales. Trent Woloveck from Jushi is coming up in just a moment. Why? Because the company filed a lawsuit. It's against the hemp industry within the state of Pennsylvania. So we'll get the details on that. It's probably a much needed lawsuit. And we'll basically get the details from Trent as to like where this is going to go, what he's trying to get out of this, and really what the outcome potentially could be. So he'll be coming on in just a moment. Dan from the chart guys as well. Price action. What are we seeing? We're seeing a pullback here this morning. So again, the rescheduling rumors, they're white hot right now. Again, like I said, Wednesday, timing wise, no idea as to what's going on, but they are circulating, and a lot of people obviously want to know what's going on in the latest. So we'll find out as much as we can and filter that information to you guys. But for now, we sit and we wait patiently. So with that, let's get into today's podcast with AV.
How's it going?
Here on a Friday. Good day, sir. How are you?
Good. A little bit rocky day yesterday.
Yeah.
It shit happens. I obviously made a pretty big mistake, and I've got a decent following and I guess reputation that needs to be upheld with putting out factual information. I mean, to be completely honest, I didn't watch the press conference initially. I know that I was given a fake link that looked like it was a live press conference, then tweeted out aged information. I know there were a lot of people speculating as to what went on, as to the reasons of it. I mean, it was a complete lapse in judgment and just complete knee-jerk reaction. I mean, tensions are pretty high. We're waiting for a headline. I just saw it and acted. Obviously, probably shouldn't do that moving forward, and obviously very thoroughly verify what I'm doing. At the same time, I mean, anybody that thinks it was nefarious, not going to do whataboutisms and not going to try to defend what happened. But I mean, I could have easily just came out and said, guys, it's going to Schedule 2. Compounded what was going on in the space, not make some crazy elaborate story as to why and make us look kind of just stupid, to be completely honest, with the content that was out there. I owned it. It is what it is, and kind of just moving forward from it. That's pretty much all I have to say at this time. I know I was pretty transparent about it yesterday on Twitter, exactly what happened, and really just next steps moving forward.
Yeah. Zero strategy in trying to short the market yourself. And
no,
good for you.
The ETF was up 5%.
Yeah.
I mean, it just didn't make sense. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be a sector participant for the last 10 years and ruin my reputation with some stupid story on the potential biggest catalyst that we've ever seen. Like, I'm not here to do that. I think I was pretty honest in an open book. And like I said, I'm just moving forward, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I think and then thank you, Fred, for saying that. But anytime in this day and age, and it's difficult for people to do, is that if you make a mistake, you own it and you learn from that. But at the end of the day, it's just like, you've provided some great feedback and dialogue over these last months, if not years. And I know a lot of the people in the industry look up to you and lean to you for direction and stuff like that. But more importantly, good for you to own this. So I think end of discussion. We don't need to dive into it anymore. So good for you. All right.
I was going to say, that being said, there's a lot of stuff swirling around. Obviously, we're kind of on pins and needles here, waiting for something to happen.
I know you hear all kinds of crazy things, but I was even saying this morning, and like, even if Donald Trump called the podcast right now and if we weren't on air and said, yeah, I'm going to reschedule cannabis, one thing you have to just proceed with caution is that you're dealing with the president that may say we're going to reschedule, but he could change his mind, an hour or 2 hours later. That's just why it's unpredictable right now. But I think if anything, for the industry, we're at the 11th hour and you're seeing a lot of chatter going on everywhere right now. And I just think everybody take a deep breath, lay low, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. We obviously want to see, but look, this market has performed well over the past month, 6 weeks. Let's look at that and just keep it simple, as they say. And
I'll let Dan get into the charts, but I mean, I think we top at 6 until we get an actual announcement.
I agree.
It's in the show me phase now. Like, we've come up almost 100%, more than 100% off the lows.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone's relatively in the green that got in early. It's just waiting right now. Once we need an announcement to take that next step. I think the speculation phase is over. You're seeing trading accounts yesterday. There were trading accounts that top ticked the market. As soon as they saw 6, they started alerting their followers, hey, might be time to get out on a short-term move. So, I mean, there's traders in here right now. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of things that people are waiting to materialize, and we're in a waiting game now.
Agreed.
100%.
Yeah. And Yeah, if there is ever an announcement, it's just like some people that I know that I've spoken to earlier this week that were part of the early runs of raising money for a lot of these cannabis companies 8, 9, 10 years ago. They have totally disengaged and disconnected themselves from the cannabis industry. They're not up to speed like we are. And I think if there's anything promising, like if you do get an announcement, you start to see some of these share prices to run. There could be other players that eventually get involved after the actual initial announcement is being made. So again, just let's all be patient. Let's be low key, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So with that, this is not me being your shrink and giving you advice on how to manage your life, but I think less is more right now, and just let it be. But that's it. All right, TDR, Traded Black Podcast, presented by Dutchie here on a Friday. AV, Shad Dales, great to have everybody here. Hope you have your coffees ready to roll as we welcome in our first guest, the Chief Strategy Officer of Jushi, Trent Woloveck, back to the podcast. Good to see you, sir. How are things?
Morning, gentlemen. Oh, things are amazing right now. I'm happy.
We got a few hemp guys that are on here right now, and I think they're ready to hear what you have to say. So with that, let's get into it. You and the company made big headlines this week with your lawsuit against hemp distributors and retailers in PA. So this is the first time we've seen a cannabis MSO like yourselves, this size, go directly after the intoxicating hemp space in state court. So I don't want to sit here and say like this is welcoming news, but it's news that had to be had. So really, when you think about this right now, Trent, give us the lay of the land. I know you've had discussions before, some of the things that you found in PA that people may or may not be familiar or understanding with, but why this decision right now? And what are you seeing right now that made sense for Jushi to file this lawsuit?
Yeah, look, we have a footprint. We have a great medical market as a whole in Pennsylvania. And, over the last, 5, 6, 7 years in Pennsylvania, as I've been going around to our stores, talking with patients, with people, in the communities that we serve, they continuously bring up one thing. I had to go see it myself. I've been doing, due diligence now for, 2+ years around what's happening in smoke shops, unregulated retail storefronts, and the product they're selling, in Pennsylvania and a couple other markets. And so, like I've said publicly, I'm not going to stand there and let people sell bunk product to people that think it's okay, or a real retail storefront to damage the industry that we've all worked extremely hard for decades to get to where we're at right now on the doorstep of rescheduling cannabis, and let people that don't give a flying fuck about this ruin that opportunity.
Well said. Yeah.
What's the bigger picture here? Is the bigger picture here that this gets somewhere within the PA court system and sets precedent and can be scaled to different markets in the United States? Do you guys plan to replicate this in different states that have these established markets and that do have this established hemp presence? What's the bigger picture?
This will not be the first, nor will it be the last piece of legislation, or excuse me, not legislation, litigation in markets. There will be follow-on lawsuits in multiple different markets across the United States in the coming weeks.
Okay. So outline maybe the specific claims you're making in this lawsuit and the relief you're asking for in the courts. That's a question.
Yeah, you're good. Sorry. It's pretty straightforward. People are selling cannabis under through unlicensed channels, whether that's retail storefronts, distributors. They think they're protected under federal law with the 2018 Farm Bill.
Yep.
There's unfortunately state laws that supersede that. And so that's what we're bringing to light around, what the product is that they're actually selling.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Chad.
I was going to say, what is there? Is there 400,000 medical registered patients right now in the state of PA? Is it around that?
Yeah, it's like somewhere between 400 and 500,000
And
patients.
there's reports suggest, is it true there's thousands of unlicensed smoke shops currently operating in the state? Is that correct?
Yeah, we know of a study from Villanova that recently went out, and we've seen some pretty shocking results back from that polling. I'm sure it will be made public here in the coming next couple of days, maybe a week or so. And then you also have the research and the reporting done by the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Right.
All I know is I can walk down the sidewalk, the street in Philadelphia, in Harrisburg, in Scranton, in Pittsburgh, and I'll run into a retail storefront that is selling THCA, flower, THC products with untested,
Right.
no age gate, no seed to sale tracking.
So no age
understand what's in it.
So no
So
age verification when these people are coming in and buying, is what you're seeing.
Sorry, repeat that, Chad.
I was going to say there's no age verification. Like you see people underage going into these places and buying this product. That has happened, or you've heard reports of that?
I mean, there's plenty of reporting out there on that. It's something that I've seen. It's something that I go and do.
Yeah.
It's something that I've watched, and there's plenty of people out there that have said the same thing.
Yeah.
So Trent, I mean, we've made a lot of claims on this show. I mean, there's been industry participants that have made a lot of claims about, let's say, THCA flower being hot cannabis, THCA flower being tainted cannabis and a danger to consumers. Also heavily scrutinizing the supply chain and custody of how that product actually finds its way into the market. Obviously, without getting too much into your litigation and the legal case, is the purpose of this to really shine a light and show transparency into what's going on and really blow the lid off this thing once and for all? Because we have talked about it anecdotally, but we haven't really been able to back that up with factual information through the court system, through something like this.
I mean, 100%. That there is coming a time, a day of reckoning, if you will, when people are going to have to sit up on the stand under oath and talk about what their business practice is. Mm-hmm. And I look forward to that day on how people think, this is something that is federally legal.
Yeah. Do you guys think that you'll get lawsuits coming your way in return based off of this? If so, like what grounds would they have? Because again, this is going after an illegal gray market, correct?
Time will tell.
Yeah.
But, I think our track record speaks for itself when it comes to litigation. And look, we were searching for quite some time to find the right legal team to help us with this. We found the right people, Fries and Gross. They're very real law firm. They're very real people. And, we've spent a lot of time, educating ourselves and educating them on what's really happening. And we've come to the determination, if nobody's going to do anything about this, it's time for us to step up. And, that's what we do at Jushi. That's what, I've done in the cannabis industry is try to be a leader to normalize the plant over the last 15 years. And when I see, all the prohibitionist groups posting about D8 and D10 and THCP and HHC and the, cannabis psychosis and all the products that appeal to children, so on and so forth, and them saying, this is what the cannabis industry is. I'm not going to sit by idle and do nothing because we know who the right actors are and we know who the bad actors are. And it's time for somebody to step up and say something.
Have you seen?
Go ahead.
With what you've done, I know you've done a lot of reconnaissance in these markets, going to these smoke shops. I mean, have you seen ones that are good actors, that are going by the book and are selling products with integrity? Because I've seen those. I mean, I'm not saying they're few and far between. I know that we all recognize that there are bad actors in the hemp THC market, but I have seen plenty of good ones that do sell tested, safe product. They age verify. They're going by the guidelines that the hemp market has right now to transact through.
Yeah, look, if you're a good actor within hemp, you have nothing to worry about. I'm not going after folks that are following the law. I'm going after people that are breaking federal and state laws. And so my gripe, and I've said this time and time again, my gripe is not with people, selling drinks or doing anything along those lines that are age gating, that do have tested product, that are using, naturally derived D9 for products that fall under 0.3%, THC. That's not my bone to pick.
Yeah.
My gripe is for people that sell product with yeast, mold, mildew, heavy metals, pesticides, and people that's quite frankly sell flour that test over 0.3% THC. Like it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. People that are selling vaporization products that are, trying to hide under the guise of CBD, CBG. And what do you know? When you get them tested, they have HHC and other bad synthetically derived cannabinoids in them to get people high. And they think they're not taking something that will, have that effect on them. And so it's time to call bullshit. Like it's time to call bullshit.
What is the overarching, what is the overall goal? Is the goal here for this to prove what you're alleging and then force the state of Pennsylvania to enforce the laws and shut down these actors? Is it to basically shine a light on just the nefarious nature that some of them are operating under? Like where do you see this going once if and when it's proven and comes to fruition?
All the above.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a litany of reasons why we are doing this. Being able to help educate folks, law enforcement, or in Pennsylvania specifically, whether that's VDACs, which is the agriculture folks, Department of Health, or just the legislators as a whole. Like, I was talking with the Department of Health, and they were like, yeah, we don't exactly know who oversees the smoke shops within Pennsylvania.
Well, that was my next question, because do have, go ahead, finish your thought.
And so like, we need to have those conversations with legislators to be like, okay, the Department of Ag thinks, their responsibility stops when the plant gets chopped down. Well, unfortunately, when the plant gets chopped down, people are making products that are being consumed by the general public.
Yeah.
And so it's being sold in Pennsylvania. Personally, Shad, you asked the question earlier. I think there are about 11,000 licensed tobacco stores in Pennsylvania that are selling some sort of synthetic cannabinoid, THCA, or they have unlicensed skilled games, aka slot machines.
Yeah.
And so there's about 16,000 total in Pennsylvania. But
so speaking of on another topic in Pennsylvania, which obviously we've had you on several times and we've talked about it ad nauseum over the last couple of weeks, has been the adult use bills that are moving through the House. Are there not riders or language that's going around that would enforce laws or reform hemp within the state of Pennsylvania, side saddle with, let's say, adult use being implemented, if it does get implemented right now?
Yes. State Rep Abby Major and State Rep Emily Kincaid, their bill has language that would, regulate and oversee, hemp in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So when we look at these 10 distributors and online retailers, these are all bad actors. Like, are they playing both sides? One side is they're selling stuff that's legal, other stuff is illegal. Like, these are all bad actors. I don't want to muddy the water. This is about going after people that are not following, really, I don't even know what the laws are right now to allow them to get away with this stuff. But truthfully, like when you look at these 10 distributors and online retailers, like describe like who they are and what they're doing.
Again, I'll just keep it super simple. They're selling cannabis across state lines.
Yeah.
To individuals that, they shouldn't be selling to.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's anything more to add that. Well, we'll see how this materializes and progresses. And I guess if there's anything, like, what do you expect next as far as timelines and things that maybe people should watch and pay attention to?
I think they should watch other states
Yeah.
for similar litigation that's going to be brought. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from folks, and so we're going to continue to look and explore and educate, and continue the push on what we know is the right path forward.
Is this a sign of things to come in more states? Like when you look at other companies such as yourself that have bigger footprints in other states, that this is something that they might learn from you guys and say this is something we should consider as well?
Yeah, I mean, I hope states take notice of this. I hope other cannabis companies, feel comfortable now with, information that they've been gathering to come forward and talk to us or talk to the attorneys about it, or they do their own thing. Like, we want to continue to shine the light and have an adult conversation about what is happening in the United States. I mean, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal today that said the U.S. banks have funneled $312 billion with a B of illicit Chinese money here in the United States.
That doesn't surprise me. That's a lot of money.
And I have to sit here and get kicked out of Chase, get kicked out of TD, get kicked out of U.S. Bank, multiple different, everybody in the industry. I can't get a mortgage. And so the fact that is okay, that is something that is being done, is just absolutely ludicrous for the industry as a whole. And quite frankly, it continues to drive what it is we do at Jushi.
Well, it appears the critics that don't want any kind of reform or banking, their excuses are shrinking more and more because people are becoming more and more educated on this topic. When you look at some of the chatter that's going online right now, we don't have to get into timelines as to like if and when rescheduling does happen, but do you think this is all part of an incremental step that to get to banking, we got to get to rescheduling, and this is 100% what Trump is like, set out to do?
Well, 100%. I will tell you anecdotally a few different stories on what we're seeing live in the field right now.
Okay.
President Trump has done what he did in DC, whether you like it or not. The law and order. Hey, I'm coming in to help clean this up.
Yep.
You know what they're doing? They're cracking down on people smoking in public. They're cracking down on the illicit shops. And what happens when that happens? My store in Arlington, which is right across the river, I had the biggest day ever outside of 420.
Really?
In the recent weeks. So, when we talk about why this is such a big deal for the regulated market, that is a real life example of what's going on right now. The other thing is, in having conversations with some Republican legislators in Pennsylvania, they have said rescheduling makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does.
We have a little bit more cover. I'm going to tell you something in Virginia. The Republicans there are having a change of mind, and because of the rescheduling conversation, they can now feel like they can get educated on cannabis.
We saw the Senate. I saw the Senate pro tem was saying that they need, which was a Democrat, not a Republican, in VA, but she's aligning with the message that VA needs safe, tested, regulated adult use cannabis in the state ASAP.
Yeah, and Louise Lucas, that she's the president pro tem. She knows and she understands. I mean, she's been a big advocate for adult use, cannabis in Virginia for multiple different years.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we've just ran into the roadblock that is Governor Youngkin there. And so, that's another market that the illicit market is thriving.
Yeah.
I mean, Pennsylvania, I think Pennsylvania has a clear definition of what hemp is. And by the way, it's total THC.
Right.
You want to talk about a state that has probably one of, if not the best hemp definition out there. There was a bill passed like 3 sessions ago.
Yeah.
Virginia is spectacular when it comes to what the definition is of hemp. And so, that's a market that I think, we had a miss because they descheduled cannabis and they didn't set up a market to do that. And we've been operating under that for, 4 years now.
Right.
And so, again, I think the day of reckoning is coming there as well very soon.
We have banking relationships in all jurisdictions in which we operate. 2022 annual report, writes Brian Dabrowski. And I think it's pretty simple, loud and clear as to what the initiative is on Jushi. It's like, we're not going after this legal market. It's stuff that people are selling illegally, plain and simple. And I don't think there's anything more really to muddy the waters as to what the whole goal is here. So there's no point in twisting these stories. We're not here bashing the hemp industry. The regulated market I fully support, and I think you do too, Anthony and Trent. And this is where cannabis and hemp is attached at the hip. However, if you're crossing state lines, there's no testing involved, no labeling involved, and it's by an illicit black market, then there's issues involved in that, and that has to stop. Plain and simple, right?
Absolutely. And if people want to have conversations with me, feel free to pick up the phone, shoot me a text,
exactly,
shoot me an email, and let's talk. But like every time we put that out there, we hear crickets.
Yep.
And so, like, if you want to have a real conversation, I'm here to educate and talk, and let's do that. But I'm not gonna sit here and say everything's rainbows and cotton candies and just let people do whatever they see fit.
Well said.
It's time to bring light to it. So
yeah, agreed. Well said. Well, listen, glad you got a chance to log on here today and give us an update on that, and keep us updated. We'll obviously be watching closely with certain press releases as to how this progresses. And I think most importantly is good luck. And I hope everything comes out the way you want it to in the end, because we can more shed on more information on this, the more and more lawmakers become educated. And let's face it, as I said before, the excuses by critics is shrinking because people are becoming more aware and educated on actually what's happening. So Brian says I already sent you a number on LinkedIn. So Brian, if Trent doesn't get it, then DM me on my LinkedIn profile, and I'll get that over to Trent. And you guys can
I have Brian's number. I have him saying that he wants 1% THC limits raised so they can continue to sell their THCA flower. I mean, I get the game. I've been in the game a really long time.
Yeah.
So, if we want to have truthful conversations, I'm all for it. I'll call you, Brian. Don't worry.
Yeah. Good. Keep in mind too, in a week and a half, we're going to have this conversation about the threshold of THC being raised. Senator Rand Paul is going to be with us. So make sure you watch that. That'll be an interesting conversation that we'll have, but we'll follow up with you afterwards. And if there's any important questions that you think should be angled, I'd love to get your feedback on some of the stuff that we should approach him with, because it's a hot topic, right?
Yeah, no synthetics. I mean, that's the big one.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it from there. Again, the drinks I think are a great thing for people to explore THC with. But this flower and the vapes and all of that stuff, like
the biggest problem is the flower.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is the flower, is because the flower's been a Trojan horse for illicit product to get into legal channels, and no one wants to admit it because they're making too much money. I don't blame them. I mean, they figured out the system. They're making a hell of a lot of money, and they're going to run that goose until it runs dry.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is no one wants to admit it, and no one wants to reform it. They just want to keep it the status quo, and that's why these measures are being taken.
Exactly.
100%. 100%.
Exactly. All right, I'll let you run. Before I go, where'd you go to school? It's week 1, college football. Who are you cheering for this weekend on a lighter side?
I went to Miami University, but grew up in Columbus, Ohio. So no Bucks.
Ooh.
We got a big game. Somebody just bet 500K, swung the line. So now Ohio State's underdog. So I'm going to pound that.
Ohio State playing?
Texas.
1
and 2. Top 2 ranked teams. Is it 1 and 3?
Yep.
Who's ranked 2 in the nation? Don't say Penn
State.
Penn State ranked higher than Ohio State. Wow.
Yeah, they got their quarterback back. We got a redshirt freshman that's probably going to start.
Well, I'm a Michigan fan. We got Bryce Underwood, the number 1 overall recruit in the nation.
Yeah, how much did you guys pay for him?
$10 million.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
What did you guys pay your roster last year? Was it like 23 or 4 million?
The whole roster.
Good point. Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports. He changed recruiting overnight because he was committed to LSU. But
it's good to be rich.
Yeah, it's good to be rich. At 18 years old. Can you imagine LeBron James coming into the league now and what he was given at his age and his just his
he was making plenty of money. He was
I think LeBron had a $100 million Nike contract the day he turned 18.
Yeah.
Did he have $100 million? I didn't think
it was.
It was $100 million.
Yeah.
I played high school sports against LeBron, so that dude was just different animal.
John Lawler, Michigan. I used to like you, Shad. Go blue, baby. All right. Well, listen, honestly, with all due respect, wish you nothing but the best. Keep us updated and well done. And let's see how this manifests. Maybe we see more trends in more states, but let's just most importantly, as I always say, keep this conversation going. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, gentlemen, for the platform and I appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. And well said. Well done. You know, I'm like, look, when the rumble happens, there's always change, and change is never an easy thing. And to your point, I can see how some people that have played the system and flown under the radar are upset about this because, let's face it, they're making lots of money. But at the end of the day, when you can't do interstate commerce, there's testing, there's labeling, there's all this stuff, age gating, like that is a very structured, regulated market that cannabis is currently enduring. And when you wonder, like, as you said, like some of the stuff that's cracking down from Trump, if you're starting to see that reflection on some of the latest earnings, because what we saw in this latest print was a lot of companies holding their ground. But you wonder how much change is actually starting to affect. To Trent was what he said is like our biggest month, our biggest day.
You will see revenue flow back into, let's say, the state-run operators, especially in adult use markets, if there's a clampdown on hemp, because I truly believe that the consumers, they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
They don't know the difference whether they're going in a smoke shop or whether they're going in a Jushi or a Trulieve in an adult use market. All they know is they're shopping for price. They're probably shopping for certain products. And as long as they have them, it doesn't matter to them whether it's state-run cannabis or whether it's hemp. It matters they're getting THC products. They can use it for either medical purposes or they can use it for recreational and get high from it. It doesn't matter.
But when that stuff's not tested, like if you actually did flower from black market versus a regulated market, you know what's going into your.
Let's be real. No one ever tested cannabis that they were getting from their black market dealer that everyone texted when they were teenagers or whatever. Like, I think the testing stuff is valid. The testing stuff is needed. Cannabis needs to be standardized, but when I was buying weed in college, I wasn't asking my dealer if the shit was tested.
Yeah, but it's a lot different now. You actually have a regulated business.
It's the same thing.
Well, I'm saying, how do you have a business? You have an industry. You have publicly traded companies. When you were a kid, that wasn't around. You have thousands of smoke shops. You have more people involved. And what you bought,
we think testing is very important. The novice consumer, I don't think they haven't been drilled in, haven't had that drilled into them.
I get it. But what I'm
At
saying
all.
is that some of the product that's in there now versus like say when you were in college is a lot different. You take a hoot of a joint, maybe you get some indigestion problems within your stomach. Like, what is that? And people may not know the difference, but you don't know what's going into your body. And I'm not sitting here saying, well, is that going to like, you won't really care if you don't feel anything different. But with all the people that are involved now and the way stuff is being made, you have a huge industry around this. There's certain loopholes that you can get around that's quote unquote right now abiding by the law. You're going to get a lot of interesting characters involved. And, you know, it's put it this way, it's a hot topic, and we'll see how it progresses. But it's a conversation that definitely needs to be had, and hopefully there's progress that Jushi makes. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Curious to see where it goes and what precedent it sets.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Agreed. I'll bring you back up at the conclusion with Dan the Chart Guys as we'll sign off before we head into the weekend. But let's go into segment number 2. It's all about price actions. Cue it, Arns, as we bring in Dan for the Friday morning. Good to see you, sir. How are things?
Things are good.
Chaos yesterday. I didn't know if you're going to log on with us today, but here you are. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to do a live stream. I don't usually live stream cannabis coverage, but I'll do it this afternoon, 4:30 p.m., and I'll talk a bit more about everything in depth. But in the meantime, again, this daily chart, what happens is when there's red, there's a fervor. Everybody needs somebody to blame, or if they're unhappy, we just have to remember you have to see red to have uptrends that follow through. It's a part.
Well said. Well said.
It's so inevitable. And the strongest uptrends that are over the most prolonged period of time have 20, 30, 40% drawdowns as a part of that. Obviously, we don't want to see that here, but again,
that's what we're seeing today.
This daily chart, I mean, how much have I been saying daily EMA 12? That's it. If that's holding, we don't care about anything. And last consolidation, hourly oversold marked the daily higher low, holding daily EMA 12. That's perfect. When I'm trading Bitcoin and blue sky breakout, that's what it does. And here we had a pullback today, big sell-off. I was trading it. I was buying 528, 520, 519. I'll show those receipts in the live stream, but we didn't even get to hourly oversold. We can see another leg down, and then we'll get to hourly oversold and see if the same thing happens. But for right now, it's getting front run. There's a bid as we speak, 300,000 shares at 540. Let me make sure it's still there, but that's one of the biggest bids. Yeah, it's still there right now. Biggest bids that I've seen on this entire run, $1.5 million sitting at 540. We'll see if they pull it or if it, gets filled a little bit. But again, this is just completely normal. What it does change a little bit is the setup into Tuesday. So what I talked about a couple days ago is, if everybody thinks that we might get an announcement Friday over the long holiday weekend, then I would expect Tuesday, if we don't get an announcement, that we're going to sell off into daily consolidation. Well, now we're getting it now because of the people that were holding for a weekend announcement. A lot of them sold yesterday into the end of the day. So it does change the shape of things. But again, anything over 434 is a daily high or low. And this is why, I always have cash to buy dips in volatility in my day trading account. And then I have a core position where, I'm not touching my core position because absolutely nothing has changed fundamentally or technically. And then when you get that kind of straight drop that we had this morning, I'm going to take advantage of that and do some trading around it. But
okay, I was going to say, if we don't get an announcement, I don't even know whether we this weekend, next week, 2 weeks, who knows? But the longer this plays out, you think, because it seems like right now the euphoria around this is that we're supposed to get an announcement, like it's imminent, like we'll get something today or after market. That seems to be the narrative that's going on right now. But if that doesn't happen, you think this is set up for next week, that the longer it delays, you'll start to see a sell-off, is what you're saying?
I mean, we look at the weekly chart. So the weekly chart has a higher low every single week for 2.5 months, where we have gone up 200% with no weekly consolidation. I mean, you even go back to when it was inception of the ETF, and we ran straight up, beautiful move that we had where things were running thousands of percent. We saw weekly consolidation twice along the way. We haven't seen that yet. I mean, any game plan that you as a trader or investor or whatever have has to anticipate that weekly consolidation will happen, and we'll look for a weekly higher low to be the result of that consolidation. And if we don't get an announcement this weekend, probabilities will tick up that weekly consolidation is coming.
Okay, good to know. Let's get into it. Let's look at probably the best performing stock in the market over the last couple of months, Curaleaf being the first one, followed by VFF. So let's look at CURA. Apologies
so Curaleaf, I'm on the OTC here. We've got the 241 is the daily higher low. And that's the good thing, right? That's your gauge. If you hold that level, you're in an uptrend because it's a higher low. So we could pull back 15% from where we stand in this moment and still be in a daily uptrend. So that's our guide. Again, daily EMA 12. We've been riding it for almost 2 months at this point. It is still holding. You know, we got a little double top right now up at 365, 364. So that's a short-term resistance level. But we held the low of yesterday. That's a double bottom by a penny. So haven't even officially started daily consolidation on this name yet.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind too that it's still up in the air, not confirmed yet, but the TSX might be adding Curaleaf to their index. And that's basically the way that's set up is that other funds will automatically have to buy this stock. So that's coupled. Did you see that news earlier this week by chance or no?
Yeah, I did. And yeah, it's just essentially a mini version. You know, when something gets added to the S&P 500, it rips. That's a mini version of the same thing.
Yeah. So again, that's not confirmed yet, but something to watch for next month. And speaking of next month, holy cow, it's here on Monday already, September. Where's time go? Next up, let's focus on VFF, Village Farms.
So again, we've been talking for months how this is the strongest name in cannabis, and nothing's changed at this point. The last little higher low was at 257 for the bulls to maintain their control. We've got a nice push up even this morning. You know, we just pushed up 5% over the high of yesterday, maybe a little bit less, but still holding strong. As far as the next major resistance, it's here. It's at 325. That is an important level to be watching. But again, you look at this chart, and this is a perfect example. Weekly consolidation is to be expected. We pulled back for a month. We held weekly EMA 12, and then we rip another leg up. All the cannabis, if we're going to say a long-term bottom is being set, everybody is going to have to pull back, set a weekly higher low, and then see continuation. Some names like VFF have already done it because their move started earlier, but everybody, MSOs, has to do that eventually.
Yeah. Let's move to Tilray now, TLRY. Everybody's favorite stock, it seems, as far as legacy name. But again, are we seeing the same trend as the first two?
Yeah, I mean, the volume is great here. You got yesterday, 86 million. I mean, we traded $120 million yesterday. That's a great sign. You know, the base of support was built at 1, the nice round psychological level. So $1 is your key support at this point. We're tightening up. There's a little short-term level that's being tested here. You can see we bottomed the last 4 days, 137, 135, 136, 137. So bulls are trying to defend that little level. If we lose it, again, we'll look to daily EMA 12. Again, these names, they're a little bit more flash in the pan in the sense that when they do lose momentum, you can pull back 30, 40% really easily. Yeah. So you got to be aware of that as well. As far as resistance levels, this move so far has topped out at 155, 153 back here. Next major level would be 182. So still holding on. There's been a little bit of rotation around the LPs where Tilray was one of the leaders on the move up in mid-August. And then yesterday, CGC got its turn where, you know, up 25% at one point in the day, and just a laggard move. Again, if we are truly going to see sentiment shift in the sector, and if we are going to see this catalyst where we get rescheduling, we will see the rotation where the leaders lead, and then we look to the laggards to make their move as well. And I'd call CGC a laggard at this point. It's trading more sideways the last few months as opposed to the names that have been bouncing for the last few months. But if CGC is going to get going, it's got to get over 199. We'll just call it too psychological. That level's got to break if we're going to see a leg up from here. But always watching, you know, I traded CGC yesterday for the first time in a very long time. Just always watching Tilray or CGC, and you know, it's MSOs over here, it's the LPs over here, and just watching where the capital's flowing.
So a laggard for Canopy, how would you best describe Tilray? You had $120 million traded yesterday alone. Again, U.S. cannabis reform should reflect U.S. companies. But when you talk about a senior exchange, NASDAQ, and it's very liquid, does Tilray fall into that leader type, I guess, echelon, so to speak, if we do get some reform news in your view?
It had a ton of shorts on it because it was one of the weakest charts in Canopy down at or in Cannabis all the way down at all-time lows. And it does have the reputation of being a Reddit meme stock. There was a period in time where it was grouped in with that short headhunting that was going on thanks to GME. So, Reddit and Wall Street Bets knows this name, and that is a factor. I mean, it's up 450% from the low. So in that regard, it's one of the, it's the difference between establishing supports and building a base and, versus just complete dump V-shaped bounce with a mini short squeeze, which is what I would describe it as. So I would say Tilray led the move out of LPs from the low, just in terms of percentage gains and speed. And CGC is trying to act as a laggard and still very much struggling. I mean, again, so many of these charts, you zoom out, like the monthly chart, you show me this monthly chart, there's still nothing significantly bullish going on this chart.
Yeah. All right. We talked about meme stocks, the Tilray. It's also focused on another one, SNDL. What are we seeing here?
This has been, I haven't had my eye on this one. And this one is trading like VFF in terms of the slow grind up. Very, very impressive. Again, the move off the low, we hit a fresh low with zero follow through. So the previous all-time low was down at 125. We dropped down to 115. We're testing another key resistance. Again, if we get over this level, which is 293, we can say now we're at the highest price in the last almost 3 years, which is significant if we can get over it. But again, it's just this grind up. I talk about daily EMA 12. We haven't even tested it. We haven't even touched that since earnings. So there's steady buying pressure here in the dollar volume, 20-day average volume. We're looking at $10 million plus traded a day. So pretty sizable. Yeah. Again, it's not the kind of thing where you're going to get a 25% day like CGC just put up, but it's the day in, day out grind that has people very happy with the performance over the last couple of weeks.
Keep that in mind. Another company that's a Canadian company that did very well last week, was up over 40% one time, was High Tide, HITI. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, I mean, looks great. It's another name that put in its bottom a little bit sooner, and you can see again this was a macro bottom that held, and now we got a macro top that we're battling. 362, we got up to 366. Again, if we get over that level, we can say now we're at the highest price in three plus years. So that's a very important level that's being tested. The simple statement is if this low holds down at 333, the bulls have complete control. Again, sideways is just fine. After you shoot up 40% or whatever, going sideways, bulls will take that every day of the week because it's allowing things to settle. Again, it's just always supply and demand. And you see demand significantly outweigh supply to a new price range. And now the scales are balancing out between supply and demand again. So 333 is the short-term level and 366 short-term resistance, but sideways is fine.
That's the common trend that you've been saying here this morning. Pullbacks, especially if you've been trading up and trading sideways afterwards, is actually a good thing. And I think that's what people need to understand and be patient with. But look at the world that we live in today's day and age. People want instant gratification overnight, but this is all part of the process. One last one somebody brought up was TCNNF, TerrAscend, Trulieve.
Yeah, so daily higher low was set at 676. That's the most important level. We did get the higher high. That's great. Again, pull back today. We went higher low every single day for 7 days, and we ran up in that time 47%. You have to see daily consolidation. So now we have it. Bulls bought the dip, at least initially. No red flags. I mean, if we want to really zoom in, we're seeing this bounce recovery right now. I'd say if MSOS closes, we look great. I mean, this bid support at 440 shifted things in the short term. There are no red flags here. I just, I'm going to consider anything under 575 an hourly lower high, but with the size of this bounce, I mean, if we close 540 plus on MSOS, it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
So 540 is the number to watch here this afternoon going into the close.
And I just made, I just made that up in the sense that that's my number. But again, it's daily EMA 12. If daily EMA 12 is support, there's nothing to worry about on this daily uptrend.
Okay. Good to know. All right. 4:30 this afternoon is your live stream, correct?
Yeah. Check it out. Come ask questions. Again, I'll do more in-depth stuff. I'll take some requests and I will show my trading just to give some insight as to how I and maneuvering this short-term volatility.
All right. And your YouTube channel again is at the Chart Guys, correct?
Yep, just Chart Guys.
Awesome. And on Twitter, they can find you at the Chart Guys as well, correct?
Might be just at Chart Guys. I should probably know that, huh? at Chart Guys, yeah.
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 And now
No,
the time to stay connected to you as we see a lot of daily price action as to what's taking place. And if in the event we do get some, announcements, might have to be doing these live streams a little bit more frequently with you throughout the week, because a lot of questions are going to be asked during the short term if we get an announcement. But all eyes on Washington. But for now, the common theme here today is a pullback is not necessarily a bad thing. Sideways trading is all part of the process, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Good day and good seeing you. And I'll be in touch early next week if we get an announcement. All right, sir?
Sounds good. See ya.
Thanks, Dan. That's right. Let's welcome back in AV. And makes sense. You watch the markets. How are we doing?
MSOs was just almost back to flat.
Was
it's
it?
now down 1%. So it's battling back.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
All right. That wraps
hopefully
up today.
Hopefully there's no fake news this afternoon.
Yeah, Jesus. Well, again, good for you to own that and not skirting around this right now, but it is what it is. And we should be okay, everybody. So let's all just take a deep breath. Hopefully we get an announcement soon. It would be amazing if we got something announced today, this weekend, even next week. But again, your guess is as good as mine as far as timeline. We just hear promising things. And it all started, obviously, 3 weeks ago on August 11th in that press conference with President Trump when he was asked about it and said, yes, we'll be making a decision in the next few weeks. And come Monday, it's 3 weeks. So we shall see what the next few days and the next week is in store for this industry. But if it does, as I've said before, history is in the making. Cannabis will be classified, or should say rescheduled, for the first time in over 50 years, which is great. Anything else you want to add, my friend?
I'm good.
You good? All right. All right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your long weekend. We'll keep you updated. I think we're going to be back here Monday for a live stream, even though it's Labor Day, but we'll keep you all posted as to who the guest will be. So we'll be back here at 4 o'clock. As usual, Sunday afternoon, I'll come up with the weekly recap and a few more episodes of the TDR Cannabis in 5. Man, I love the support I'm getting for that. Getting a lot of traffic, and our subscribers are growing a lot from those videos. So again, if you get a chance to look at it, make sure to view them. Appreciate your support. And more importantly, make sure to subscribe to our Baked In newsletter, giving you all the latest updates to the business and reform side. So you want to stay connected. In the meantime, like I said, enjoy your long weekend. We'll see you back here Monday at 4 o'clock. If not, see you back here next week. Hopefully, we'll be on this other side of a reschedule. But again, things are still pretty much up in the air. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week, everyone. So, what'd you think of all that information? Some interesting stuff that we just learned once again here at the TDR Traded Black podcast. Let's keep the conversation going. So leave your comments below. We'd love to get your feedback. As usual, if you have time, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications. And stay connected with us here at the Trade to Black podcast. Thanks for watching, everyone.